We are shaking like crazy here. We are having an earthquake, I believe.
Yeah, we are.
Hang on. The lamps are shaking here. We are rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, we talk about a lot of historic anniversaries here on KIRO Radio, and oftentimes it's 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 75 years ago. It's hard to believe that the Nisqually earthquake was already 20 years ago, but it's not hard to believe that Dave Ross has some very special memories from that day. And Dave, I mean, I didn't hear you live on the radio that day, but I know you were actually at work on the job on February 28, 2001, weren't you?
I was doing my talk show, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it happened in the morning. And I forget what the topic was, but we were taking calls on. But suddenly the whole studio just started moving.
And I took the microphone and I went down like this. I stayed on the air, but I took the microphone, I brought it down like this, and I sort of went under the desk. And I was talking from under the desk here, just describing what the feeling was like. I think I said something like, we're really rocking and rolling now.
So, yeah, I kept talking, and the poor woman on the phone was saying, yes, I feel it too, but I forgot all about her call and just started wondering aloud about what the consequences were going to be. At the time, we had a view of the Space Needle out the window, so I immediately looked to make sure that thing was still standing.
Back then, we had a better view of the Space Needle than we do now because the trees weren't as high, but I took a look at the Space Needle just in case that had toppled over. I could clearly see the trolley wires outside the window bouncing up and down. I believe there were cars stopped as people realized something was amiss and were trying to, figure out what to do.
My other concern, though, was the I-5, because we were about, what would you say, 300 feet from I-5 where the studio is, and it's up on a viaduct at that point. And never trusted that thing. It wasn't as bad as Alaskan Way, but it was still a pretty a high elevated viaduct in the slide area. So my next instinct was to ask whether that thing was still standing, which it turned out it was. And I had never felt anything quite that intense in my life once it got going.
Earthquake, get on the air now, get on the air. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Peter, do it now. Let's go. Get to me. This is Brian Wood live in downtown Seattle. This is Brian Wood live in downtown Seattle on the 12th floor of the mayor's conference room. We were waiting for a news conference when it hit. An earthquake. Undoubtedly you felt it just in the matter of seconds. Things are still rolling even as we speak right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest quake to hit the Northwest, I think, in 36 years. There had been a 6.5 back in 1965. So this was a 6.8, lasted almost a minute. The epicenter was down near the Nisqually Delta, which is why they call it the Nisqually Quake. Now, as a radio broadcaster, you're not from the Northwest. You're not from an area prone to earthquakes.
No.
What was it that gave you the instinct or led you to do the right thing, which was to broadcast? How come you didn't just hide, drop the microphone, and run out into the street the way
because you're a newsman. I think instinct kicks in when you find yourself in the middle of a news story. You want to describe it.
Then it finally calmed down, and I took my seat and coolly went on with the rest of the broadcast. Foam poles are okay. I'm looking at the buildings downtown. Everything seems to be fine. The smokestacks on the Zymogenetics building are still there. Yeah, I don't see any obvious damage here.